Hello there. I am orange green. I'm growing now and recently gained my second color, which is evidence of getting older, stronger, and more destructive. I'm from another part of life, living on another side, another planet with a totally different environment and viability. Spent some time watching your life on your tiny planet, Earth. I'm actually curious to know more about you, human. You have a small and simple planet with short living time and limited strength, as I saw. I have a lot of things to talk about as a comparison with us and our planet, which is called in human language the greatest. By the way, your expressions and words are too many, so I realized that you need many words and terms to express your feelings, which we don't have. We have no bodies like you, neither ears nor feet, but we can move and interact thousands of times more than you. We have no words or language like you. Instead of that, we have... Let me talk about that next time. Finally, I consider this experience on Earth as a part of my growth and enlargement stages. You may have to take a look at other creatures in the great space. We will keep in touch from time to time. May some lines of power intersect through this trip and make some actions on your tiny planet. Greetings, Orange Green. Orange Green. Close up. Usually, I start my day a little bit before particles start spreading. It is around 3 a.m. at your time. This is the right time to take the most amount of pure energy needed for the day. Before others enter the field and get the little ones away from the great source of energy. When the little ones are taken away from the great source of energy, they are forced to search for the remains of the particles that fell from the big ones as they moved. Big one or little one is our initial classification. There are many other classifications that give us names, positions, and power. You have to do everything you can to move on to the next stage, or you will regress in length and color, then eventually disappear like millions in a very painful ending. We do not have a family consisting of a mother, father, and kids. We are born from things that look like clouds in your planet. We slip to the planet without shape or color. Then we get shapes and colors based on many conditions. These conditions cause some to enlarge and grow in a short time, up to 1,500 years in your time. Within these 1,500 years, some disappear, and others gain 1 or 2 colors based on their power. And let's say, cloud's origin. Don't be afraid. Our life is hard and tired, but not as scary as you face on Earth. In our life, freedom and adventure mingle with patience, meditation, and wisdom. All mix together to help me to pass the stages smoothly, and to collect what I need for growth and inflation. Without it, I will remain colorless and shapeless until I disappear. We don't have houses in the meaning which you know, with walls, doors, and rooms. My house is every place matching me in energy and color. The bigger length I got, the bigger house I have. At the same time, the bigger number of clans. We don't birth babies, but we attract them after getting birth from the things that look like clouds, and take care of each Kooni to gain energy and colors, in order to grow the clan in number and colors. Every Kooni needs time, up to 500 years in your time, to gain their first color and fix it with energy. Most of the Koonies pass this stage in cooperation with Soodi, or, if the Kooni is lucky, will cooperate with Yoddi. Orange, green. Kooni's world. When I come back to the moment that I slipped from the parents' clouds, when I started to realize and feel what was around me, it was a scary situation for a little mass, colorless and shapeless, invisible, with no consideration or value. With no sympathy or mercy, Yoddi and Soodi, which exist under the shining tower, began to feel the presence of a mass, without color or shape, which was considered an easy and quick prey in their path of growth and inflation. It begins with Kooni searching for a place in this huge space, a place that doesn't belong to any clan, without high energy and destructive vibration, at least in the primary region, to prevent this mass from dragging out to the no return zone. It is like a little deer seeking shelter in a wide and dark forest, with the main difference being that there is no mother to protect or anybody to take care of this tiny creature. According to the primary region law, Kooni knows with no prior knowledge that finding shelter quickly is the first step in order to ensure the presence, then to proceed to the stage of energy feeding. Which is literally a fierce war between millions of Kooni from one side and others from another side. In addition to the hunters, the absorbers around the shining tower. Unless Kooni finds Soodi, who has one color and clear shape from the top, or Yoddi, who has two colors and a semi-clear shape, will take hundreds of years in your time of searching from the moment of birth from parents' clouds to catch it. This moment is the key to starting, and the end after thousands of years if Kooni reaches the top of the shining tower. Then, state the shape that Kooni will be in, cause Soodi and Yoddi have the ability to note and pick up these moments. By the way, our time is completely different from yours. According to my planet, everything is a particle. You have to collect what belongs to you as soon as possible, or you will fight to get it later. Actually, your time and space on Earth is amazing, simple, and clear, which makes your life a series of days and years, as well as the succession of seasons, which is a beautiful thing, grants your tiny bodies with limited power and time to rest from the concentrated forces around you. Let me tell you about the place of Kooni in the primary region for the first 500 to 1,000 years, or maybe more, and what contain. There is a very large area of emptiness, only peace and quiet, no sounds or noise. We have things that look like plants around the shining tower called Bon. Bon is the number of special types of particles put together. Only those that have certain specifications, I will tell you about them, are allowed to be close or could stay with the energy line's domain. These Bon contribute, if desired, a lot of positive impact on Kooni life, as it gives lines of energy which help Kooni to track shining particles and obtain feeding. At that moment, You have to be fast enough to move quickly through the energy lines before big ones cut it as they pass. It is common to see thousands of bubbles flying around and never collide with you. Do not be surprised. They are times and previous moments belonging to some of the disappeared Kooni, and the rest move randomly for existing Kooni who lost their moments and are looking for them. For sure, the question that came to your mind was, why don't you collide the bubbles, even though they are particles? The answer is in the Shining Tower, which I will tell you about very soon. All of the above is the normal life for every Kooni, but it never happened to me. I had a completely different path. See you soon. Orange, green. The spark. It is normal for any Kooni to take time searching for their own particles in the region around the Shining Tower, whether moments particles in the beginning or energies particles for feeding, as well as particles of puberty and wisdom later on. And it is very natural for Kooni to build silent relationships with others, whether Soodi or Yoddi, to obtain guidance and protection based on mutual relations between them. It all starts when Soodi and Yoddi give Kooni their needs, ended with Kooni acceptance to join the clan, and necessarily to be a fierce warrior upon request. Kooni start receiving particles according to the type, which is identified from the parents' clouds, based on a plan that goes through stages and requirements. The closer Kooni is to the Shining Tower, the greater pains and faster growth result. There are many factors that control this operation. The most important is the ability to adapt to the environment, thinking of how to take the next step. By preserving the energy, and how to spend time particles with the best possible growth returns. While searching for a feeding source after getting a temporary shelter, I got a little closer to one of the Bon. I was about to reach it, but Yoddi passed quickly, pushed me a far distance, and threw me away from the Bon. Therefore, the Shining Tower. Unfortunately, I lost my precious opportunity. After that, I got up, found myself inside Bon with huge size. There was a line of energy running through me. It was the reason why I got up again. My plan was to find Soodi, to guide me in exchange for joining their clan. I have to find the moment of birth from the parents' clouds, as well as feeding energy. By the way, from first sight, what really caught my attention is the limbs. You've limbs in different shapes. For example, humans have hands and legs which ended in semi-rounded ends. Likewise, animals have limbs with pointed and sharp ends, which comply with the nature of their life. Birds' wings and plants all begin and end with limbs, even their flowers and crops. Obviously, you are all very similar. That is what made me amazed, that you hurt and get rid of your own. Humans with humans, humans with animals, birds even with Earth itself. I saw minor differences. You all have a head, limbs, digestive system, and respiratory system. Also, after years, you all disappear. In other words, die. Nothing remains of you. Maybe some names and memories that will disappear after many years too. You are also in harmony. Your lives are intertwined and complete with each other. Could you imagine living on a huge planet with millions of creatures in millions of types, shapes, sizes, and colors, without feelings, family, darlings, or even bodies? Did you imagine? You have to realize how lucky you are on Earth with a nice environment and beauty around you, in which you live in peace and tuning. As I saw, you may not understand the system here, and that's why you behave in these weird ways. One of these system rules is that everything you do returns to you ultimately. How you treat others, whatever is there, be certain this will get back to you before. But you don't see the whole picture, so you don't know what is happening in reality at all. There is someone who sees the whole story and tells you that now. Let me go back to what I was talking about before. Yes, when I get up inside the huge bond, finding an energy line passing through me, which was the reason for my return from the vanishment trip. As I told you earlier, there are two ways for any Kooni to grow up. Therefore, reaching the stage of Soodi and then Yoddi. Although it is not the end, actually it is just the beginning journey of the meaning of real growth, where you don't know that the primary region is primary until you finish it. Or the first way is to search alone for a source of feeding and rely on yourself to find the moment's particles. Or the second way, to ally with Soodi or Yoddi to help in both, in exchange for joining the clan. While preparing a plan to get the attention of either Soodi or Yoddi, I didn't expect that it wouldn't happen, due to getting away from me so quickly. It was not ordinary getting away or slipping away. It was virtually an escape, even though no bond, literally no one allowed me to approach. After a short time, the symptoms of disappearance began. My only hope was this bond, who finally agreed. Then, unexpectedly, Yoddi hit me and threw me away. Wait a minute. Did I say Yoddi hit me? Shouldn't I be semi-transparent and they passed through me? How did this happen? And why? Does it mean that I am fully visible and a real mass to others? Which means I'm not like the rest of Kooni out there? Or I am not a Kooni at all? Do I have advanced properties of Kooni? When I observed this orange-colored bond, which I am in now, and how I gained orange color, I realized that I belong to it, that Bon is my feeding source. Also, at the same time, my guide, which means that I don't need any Soodi or Yoddi. And this means that rejection of Bon, how I bumped from Yoddi, and how this Bon specifically pulled me, all of this was not an accident. Orange, green. The price. Honestly, after getting the energy from the orange Bon, I was able to discern a lot of things that were around me. I was able to see the main area more clearly, as if I was seeing it for the first time. But this time, from outside the box. Kooni's box. When you see the situation from the outside, everything is different. You will be able to know the right place for everything, which will make it easier for thinking away from surrounding influences, and thus acting better and closer to the right. This is what actually happened to me. According to our system, there is the main rule. Everything has a price. This price means giving in return. On our planet, this price could be energy particles, moments particles, or loyalty. Here, the meaning of loyalty is blind obedience. I was surprised with the way you deal with the price concept. On Earth, you invented money in many types, currencies and coins, with fluctuated values and deep conflicts. But if you focus, you will realize that both systems, ours and yours, are the same here. Money comes from spending time and effort, energy. So we are implicitly similar in this issue, with a difference in names. Getting back to my story, what happened to me meant paying lots of energy and moments particles immediately. I couldn't even imagine what I would pay. For a while, I didn't even know how to pay a small part of it. For sure, you are wondering, who pays and how? Since there is no cash, no bank accounts, not even bills. Since we are similar in this matter in our systems with a difference in names, you actually pay your time and effort to get money in order to get the necessities of life and luxury as well. While we pay for the moments and energy particles to get new, bigger, and stronger particles for growth and inflation. Particles without taste or flavor, just in certain shapes and colors to classify them. So, I think you should be grateful for what you can taste, smell, and touch with your skin. The only feeling we can feel is fullness or emptiness. Fullness makes you bigger, stronger, and therefore happier. Emptiness is very painful and makes you technically dead because of absorption. Also, you can feel Kooni death, where we are deeply affected by their suffering through vibrations spread within fading and disappearance. that may take 200 years, leaving behind their unused moments, which are flying in the region until no return zone absorbs it after a time, when the shining tower sends that order. Just as they are born from parents' cloud with a flash, they also disappear with a flash. That color depends on the age of the Kooni and the degree of growth. Moments ago, a Kooni disappeared with a light yellow flash, which means they are in the first tier of the growth scale. I'm going to tell you about this scale for 1,000 to 1,500 years, the primary region scale. As I told you earlier, you do not know that there is another stage until you finish the previous one. So, as a Kooni, you only know the Soodi and Yoddi stages, simply thinking that is the end of growth and inflation. But after the end of the Yoddi, if you are lucky enough to reach it and move away from the no return zone, you will be surprised by another huge world, much larger and more beautiful than the primary region. You start the secondary region in a new shape, new colors, and enough energy to assign a great task that gives you unlimited strength, like that which I have now after assigning my first mission, in which I passed close to your tiny planet. In the world of little ones in the primary region, the color gives you the initial classification, which indicates the quality of the parent's clouds, and thus the type of Kooni, and therefore Soodi and Yoddi. It enhances the position and the quality of the energy feeding, as well as the acceptance of any class of bond. To be clear and determined, in your words, according to your planet, Kooni is colorless and shapeless, with only little mass moving around. Soodi with one color, yellow, red, orange, and a clear shape from the top. Yoddi has two colors, Soodi's color on the bottom, and a second one from their colors, blue, green, with semi-clear shape. The shape depends on the position of the parent's clouds. The square shape indicates a higher position. On the other hand, the closer to circular shape means less energy, and therefore the chances of Bond accepting is lower, so it may not go beyond the Kooni stage anymore. In addition, the color. If your color is orange for Soodi, then it is the strongest. For Yoddi, green with a square shape is the highest position and role. There is a specific color and shape for each Kooni from the moment of birth, which accordingly must find the appropriate feeding based on it. But the good news is that the shape and color could be changed after some time, according to feeding, alliances, and paying the price. For me, from this moment, the real action starts, with the orange color gaining within only 150 years. See you soon. orange-green. Birth flash. With the feeding I got from the huge orange bond, I could see the story from the first moment, when I slipped from the parent's clouds with a violet flash. It is uncommon in the primary region for Kooni to slip with a violet flash. It is impossible to imagine the occurrence of something strange like that. The base of colors spread, and known to all in this region, do not exceed exactly these colors: yellow, red, and orange, which, as we said, is the initial classification of any Kooni, and the identifier for Soodi and Yoddi to get close to it for the next cooperation step. This violet flash came from a special type of parent's clouds. At first glance, something wrong might have happened during the preparation for birth, which resulted in an error in the flash color. This is what everyone thought in the primary region, since they always keep eyes on the birth area, so that nothing unexpected happens, which could be a risk. But nothing happens here by chance. This violet flash is unknown to them, and it is attached to undefined vibrations, so they were terrified. They are in front of a small creature with a strange flash and intense vibrations that do not harmonize with them. It is a source of imminent danger, which they do not know how to deal with. Is it an ally or an enemy? The main problem is that the identification of an enemy in the primary region is the no-return zone, which sucks out any creature that started weak and does not have enough energy, and therefore they were confused and fearful. What they all did was to stay away from me and avoid dealing with me in any way, until the moment that the first tier of the first color was close to the end. I did not get any feeding that would suffice me for the next stage, except what I got during the moment of birth. It was really terrifying to me. Even finding shelter was usually very difficult. So, what would it be with a creature like me, where you first have to find a space that matches your vibrations? Then you must search for a source of feeding, in parallel with searching for your moments, which contain a simple map to help you start the journey. But after a continuous pursuit of 50 years, finally I caught one of the birth moments. I did not find any map. The search for the moments of birth was full of obstacles after finding the appropriate shelter. By the way, the shelter I found and settled in was overlooking the shining tower. So I was spending a lot of time thinking about it and trying to understand it. I still had a lot of questions. What is it made of? Why is it shiny? Why is there a distance around it that no creature can approach? What if you get close to it? Are its vibrations compatible with me? I spent a lot of time watching this shining tower and how the creatures moved around it, until one day I realized that this tower had a height that we cannot see. but at that time I saw it. This was the moment when I was very weak and near to approaching the Bon, which was finally accepted to be a source of feeding. I cannot describe the meaning of the weakness and suffering that any creature suffers from in the primary region. Yes, you may pass through part of it when you get sick, and fortunately for you, you can communicate with others from your type. Talk and describe what you suffer. There are people who care for you, whether from the family or the healthcare, doctors and medical staff, but all of this does not exist here. Despite all the weakness, fatigue, and suffering with all the painful vibrations, you have to resist. Otherwise, the suffering will increase and your end will be in the no return zone, which, by the way, is a regrettable ending. But there is always a merciful hand that extends to all of us in our darkest moments of weakness and loss. It is the shining moment that the shining tower sends. For me, it was the guides that I followed to reach that Bon who finally agreed, which I thought was my last hope. These shining moments are a combination of energy and time particles, sent by the tower to every creature at different times on different occasions. But some see it and pick it up, and others do not see anything. Oh, what is that? Are these particles around me that simple? Why haven't I seen it before? And why didn't I catch it? Where did it come from? It all happened in seconds. It was between thinking about it and moving towards the Bon. At these moments, the shining particles showed me the way to the Bon, and made this Bon agree until I moved toward it quickly, then collided with Yoddi, pulling me to the huge orange Bon. As soon as the energy line passed through me and I was receiving the feeding, it became a completely different story. I was able to see what I had not seen before, and thus seeing reality in a different way made me grow and inflate differently, at a faster speed than any other Kooni, as well as any Yoddi or Soodi. All of the above from one side, and the price from the other side, since there is a price for sure. See you soon.